Notice that I am not in my own kitchen. I'm in my mom's kitchen. We're in Mississippi, and this is a guest kitchen. What I wanted to do is share. I mentioned that we were going to do Psalm 128, and it has a lot to do about family. And to get a kickstart to where 128 takes us, 127, the first two verses in there says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord watches the city, the watchman stays alert in vain." When you move to Psalm 128, then we start looking at a lot about family. And that's really why I wanted to be here, because it's about family. How happy is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. This is a good part. You will surely eat what your hands have worked for. You will be happy, and it will go well for you. I know that our family worked hard. Dad worked hard. My mom's worked hard, raising 3 boys, and we worked hard in the garden. There's a garden out back, and we had vegetables, and it's good stuff. And this is just kind of like a culmination in the kitchen, growing up in the kitchen, around the kitchen table, and just as boys growing up, Mom teaching us boys how to cook. It's been a lot of fun. And to share that with you, listen to this. Your wife will be a fruitful vine within your house, your children like young olive trees around your table. See, around the table. That's where life happens in the family. In this very way, a man who fears the Lord will be blessed. So it's kind of cool that I'm here at my mom's house. Say, Mom.
Hello.
What we're going to do is, one of the favorite things that whenever we come to visit my mom is, especially during the holidays, is fried pies. And we started this. I'll show you how we started. Mom has these already going on the stove, but what we did, this is just a simple 6-ounce pack of dried apricots. They look like this. When you can soak them, if you're going to cook them during the afternoon, when you get up for breakfast, put these in water. If you're going to have them earlier, maybe at lunch, you'll want to soak them overnight, and you'll drain them. And once you drain them, remember, a lot of times what I've done in the past is we'll cut things up with some shears. What we're going to do with these, once we cut them all up, we're going to put 1.5 cups of sugar in them. So we'll put a 1.5 cups. There's a cup, and that's about 1/2. And what Mom said is something about as they're boiling.
When you first put your sugar in, you watch them very closely, and you let them cook till all the sugar is melted. Then you turn your heat down and let them cook until your fruit is done. And as you're cooking, you will notice that at the beginning you've got big water bubbles, I call it, in your pan. And as you cook, the bubbles get smaller and more foamy. Don't wait till they get syrupy, because if you do, before you get them made, they're going to be too hard, and they won't work well.
It might work well on biscuits, huh?
It'd work fine as preserves
As
on
preserves.
your biscuits.
Yeah.
But as a pie, you want your fruit to be a little bit more pliable.
How often are we supposed to walk away from a pot?
I don't walk away while my sugar is melting. Once I get my heat turned down, I will walk away from it and start my crust or my pie filling, my pie.
Yeah, the pie. So here's the way we did that, and we're going to show you. We did have some creative things. I have this going, so we'll have to have that stirred. So for the crust, for the pie, the dough. Thanks. That's why we have moms. We're gonna use 2 cups 2 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour. And this is not a whole cup, so I am going to use a little bit more to make sure it's 2 cups. With that, we're going to use a rounded teaspoon of baking powder, which is rounded teaspoon. A teaspoon of salt. Let's just do it this way. All right. All right, there's a teaspoon of salt, and that's, then we're gonna go to 1/4 cup of shortening. Okay, this is gonna be a little different because this is butter flavored, which is okay. And remember when a couple of weeks ago we were doing chocolate chip cookies, and I said if you had butter flavored Crisco, it makes really good chocolate chip cookies. So Mom has some. If you live around, I'm not going to invite you to her house, but at least you know who has some, and she makes some really good chocolate chip cookies, especially around the holidays. She really does. All right, so with this, I have it going, and I'm going to use my hands. You can use one of these to cut this into the flour, but you want to crumble it all in there real good. When Mom's doing this, what'd you say you use?
The tips of your finger are colder than the rest of your hand,
yeah,
and it keeps your shortening less soft.
Yeah. When you're doing this, to get it to a good consistency, you can make sure it looks sort of like Parmesan, like a lumpy Parmesan cheese, and then you'll know that, okay, well now I'm going to add my water to get the dough. If you wanted a little sweeter, we could put a tablespoon of sugar. So my hands, can you do that? I got it. And this is Mama's rules. It's her kitchen, so you notice that the spoon that she used had Crisco on it. Would you normally do that?
Yes, because it's clean.
It's clean.
And it's a clean spoon, so you've not done any damage. Because you didn't lose any of your shortening in your sugar.
Yep. That looks like I gotta have more water.
Well, now remember, making pie dough is like a lot of times like making divinity candy. The humidity in the air will a lot of times determine how much water you've got to use to get your dough a consistent that you can roll it out.
This needs more, doesn't it?
Yes. I get it. Oh, you got it.
This will work. I'm not going to use all of it, though. Moms are awesome, y'all. So, we learned a lot of things about making this. Sometimes, it did rain here.
It rained here, and there is an awful lot of humidity.
This is...
And it does not take 2 people to make fried pies.
It just takes a lot of time.
Well, you can cook your fruit the day before and have it ready the day you want to make them. Just keep them in the refrigerator. In fact, you don't even have to put them in the refrigerator because they've got sugar in them and they're stable.
Okay, so I have a dough ball, but this is too big of a dough ball to make a fried pie, but it would be awesome if we could. So what she does is she takes about the size of a golf ball, and we're gonna put some We'll put some flour. Now, if I'm doing this at my house, I just use the countertop. But if you're in somebody else's kitchen, you use their rules, right?
And you're the only one that does.
Note to my 2 older brothers, I do use the rules at Mom's house. You just heard her say that, so I'm not going to argue with that. So I'm rolling this out to about 1/4 inch, like Mama says, and I'm going to get, well, she's got the...
Here's our cooked fruit that we're going to put about a tablespoonful. You go according to how big a pie dough you have as to how much fruit you're going to put in there.
Show us how.
Oh, I forgot. Randall always wets his. I never have. Didn't know you were supposed to.
Sometimes you just need to make it like Mama does. And how hot's your oil? What's it on?
I'm using medium-high heat to get it started, and then I will turn it down.
Oh man, that looks good.
Now, if you have an electric stove, I don't know, I would say a medium-high heat to get your grease hot, and then turn it down.
So when we were talking about how long it takes to do this, really the preparation time is mainly getting the fruit, I guess, rehydrated, because you have to soak it overnight, or at least soak it 6 to 8 hours. And then, you know, as it relates to your family sitting around the table, eventually these are you prep all this time, and then you finally get the apricots the way you want them. They're wonderful and almost like jam or preserves. And then you roll out your flour, your dough, and then the next thing you know, you're right in the process of, wow, we're about to have apricot fried pies. And it's kind of like whenever you're raising your family, is, you know, the preparation time it takes is preparing. You know, you have a marriage, and then you have children, and then you're preparing your kids to send them out. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, where did all this time go? And it's all over. So whenever you think about fried pies, and really a lot of things that we cook, a lot of it is just the preparation and then getting it to the table, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, it's all over. And then you clean up, and then you anticipate doing this all over again. The cool thing is afterwards, after all this is all over, there's a great banquet feast that's never going to end. And I think that's the coolest part of it all. You notice these didn't take a whole long time to cook. They look delicious. But you know what? A lot of times they don't always look delicious, but they are. I've mentioned to you in the past that sometimes it's not necessarily that it has to look the best or it's plated the best. All we want to make sure is that it's delicious. So what I have here is, we have a fresh one over here, so we're gonna get one of these fresh ones. Let's put one of these over here. And since we have a fresh fried pie, we have some others too. Come, let me show you where we started. So don't be disappointed if you're making fried pies like, oh man, they don't look anything like that one. Well, this was the first batch we made, and let me tell you something. These are delicious. They look ugly, but they're delicious. These are the next ones we made. Hey, they look really well. And these are the next ones. They turned out great. These three right here, we actually baked. But I know what you're thinking is like, well, yeah, but you just made some, and we have enough to keep making them. We have family that's going to be here in just a little while. But before they get here, just like any other time, what we're going to do is Mom and I are going to, since what goes good better with fried pies than a good cup of strong coffee, company, and a fried pie. So let's see about it. So, oh my goodness. Oh man. Whew. Yeah, you have to kiss the cook on that one.
That's good.
We didn't put any cinnamon, any vanilla. Yo, this is just the sugar that was cooked into the apricot and the dried apricot.
I have to give my mother-in-law credit because I wasn't much of a cook when I got married. But her pies were fabulous, and she didn't put any kind of seasoning except the fruit and sugar. And that's how I liked it, because I didn't like the cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice that was in pies. And I just never started cooking them with that. And that's how I raised the boys, with no spices.
Yeah, you don't need it. This is good. This is so good. Maybe when I'm back in Florida, if man, those are really good.
You can also make them pretty by sprinkling some powdered sugar on them. It didn't say it made them better, it just makes them prettier.
Yeah. Yo, it doesn't have to be gorgeous. It needs to be delicious. Mom, thanks. This has been awesome. We still have some more. Hey, y'all have a great evening. I'm glad that you got to join us. Glad that you got to join us at my mom's house. Y'all have a great evening. God bless you.
Bless you.